Well, here's a new project on the bench. As you can see, it's a well stickered Peavey Milestone Bass. So a young man brought it in. It's got a few issues. We've got a tone knob here that's loose. Oh, coming off. Have to look at that. Missing a string. The G string's missing. We're going to put some new strings on it. Got them over here. Ernie Ball, 45 to 100s. And we've got a problem here at the nut. Broken. So we've got a couple of nuts here. Replacement nuts, both tusk nuts. I don't think that one's going to work. Not sure if there's a flat bottom. And I've got this one as well, which will take a little more work, but we might have to use that one. Alright, well, let's start with the usual things. See what we can do to fix up this bass and get it in playing condition. Well, let's start by getting these strings off. I'm going to check and see how straight the neck is, or the fretboard I should say. That was a little bit of a rock, and when I look at it, yeah. Okay, so let's see if we can tighten this up a little bit. So righty-tighty, right clockwise, tightens it up, straightens out the neck. It's turning okay. You can see that it's not really doing anything though. I'll go back the other way, relax it a bit. Oddly enough, seems to be straightening out. Yeah. Okay, we had too much of a back bow on it, right? A little bit of a hump here, but it's almost like it's worn away. Everywhere else is touching. It's just right here. Okay, well, we're going to leave it like that. So you can see that it's broken off right there, right, on the G string. And he doesn't have the piece. If he had it, we might be able to crazy glue it and it might survive a little while longer, but let's see how easy it is to take out. There we go. So it definitely looks like a flat bottom nut, right? If I look at that nut slot, it looks flat too. If I take a file here, I'm going to look and see. Yeah. Just run that, clean it a little bit. Yeah, it's definitely flat. So that means this one with the curve is not going to work, because you really need all of the nut touching the fretboard right in the neck, so it transfers that sound. So we can't use this one. Some of the guitar ones will have a little nub in the middle. It's the same height as the ends, so then you can use it in a flat slot, because you have 3 points touching. But if you have a curve, you would just cut that little nub out if it wasn't there. So that means I've got this nut, which is bigger and thicker. It just means I'll have to do some sanding. Alright, let's see if we can do that. So this is a tusk nut slotted bass 4-string P0 1200-00. This is like a 38mm jazz width. I think this is 41. So it's a little bigger than what I'd want. And I think they do make little narrower ones, but they didn't have any at the store. They had this one. Yeah, so that's going to need quite a bit. You can see the original nut, the difference in thickness. So that just means a little more work for me. So let me get to sanding, and we'll be back. Alright, so I'm using 120 grit to start here because I have quite a bit to take off, so let's get going. So if you have some digital calipers, super handy. I'm going to measure the slot. So 3.16 millimeters. Let's see where we are with this. 3.58, 3.74. So you get to see, you know, digitally with a measurement, you know, where you are. So it's a handy tool as well. Okay, well, we're getting there. We're pretty close. It's not quite seated in the bottom, but it's fitting in the slot pretty nice. So just a few more passes. So now this is where you start to count how many strokes. So I'm going to do like 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pull back, and then we're going to fit it again. That's pretty good. That's almost on the bottom there. Okay, let's do just a few more, not many. Let's do like 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, now that's starting to look good. Okay, so getting that thickness is important. Obviously it's way too tall. When we look at the old nut, and that's not even in the slot, right? So that's okay. Having a lot of material is better than not a lot. Okay, so after much fussing around, I've got the nut to where I like the shape of it and the height. Don't want to take too much off. And again, the wings will take those off after. But I'm liking where that is relative to what the old nut was. And we have, we have room to file down the grooves or take off more off the bottom if we need to. So what I'll do is I'll proceed with cleaning the fretboard, putting the new strings on, and doing a setup, and then we'll see where we are with this. And again, I'll just leave it loose. Not going to glue it in place until we have a look to see what the general setup is. While we're here, this one is loose. Huh? Nope. Too big, too big. There we go. Helps to have a selection of these around it. That's better. As well see if they're all loose. Yeah, they could all use a little tightening. String tree too. Alright, let's see if we can fix this loose control without taking the whole pickguard off. It's just a friction fit. I think, find the right screwdriver, right wrench. So it's a 10mm wrench. These are really good from Stumac, these thin profile wrenches. Okay, and then if we use some needle nose pliers here, I think I can hold the pot. I'm going to turn the pot all the way one way. I'm going to hold it. We're going to see if we can tighten this up. Okay, so it's loosening off okay. Let me go back. Again, by holding the pot, it's not going to twist around inside there. Seems to be tightening. It's working well, tight. Put that back on. Alright, job done. I'm just going to check the screws here, make sure they work. None of them are rusted in place. Yeah, they all seem to be turning, which is a good sign. That means I'll be able to adjust the height relatively easily. Okay, we'll come back to that. So, the young man is putting Ernie Ball Super Slinkies 45 to 100s. Pretty popular common strings. I think I have these on a couple of bases, or I've definitely used them before. So I'm pretty sure I've said this in other videos, but I'm always amazed that only bass tuning machines seem to have that split shaft. You know, you put the string down there, wrap it around a couple of times, and boom, never comes out. So you get a lot of like vintage guitars that will have that on there, but most don't. And I find that with the split shaft, it's so much easier to string, and the guitar keeps its tuning. So maybe in the future guitars will start to use this as a standard too. They're better than locking, I think, too. Well, we've got the bass all strung up with the new strings. Got the new nut floating there. And the spacing looks pretty good. You look down the neck. It might be just a little hair wider than the other spacing on the previous nest, but by maybe a quarter millimeter, half a millimeter max. They come down at the bridge end and they're over the bowl pieces nicely. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to leave the bass sit overnight, come back to it tomorrow and see how she is. Alright, so I've fitted the nut. I've got it sized to width, it feels good. I've rounded the corners, and the height is low enough that I have some room to adjust them with the files. So I've checked here on the D string. I need to take off a little bit. I like to count strokes, and that way you can keep an idea of how much you're actually taking off, or be a little consistent, right, from string to string. So I get it up to pitch. Now I'm going to take the 22 thousandths feeler gauge. What I like to do is just run it onto the string over the top of the fret. If you don't hear any noise, that means it's not bouncing around. That's pretty good. Hear a little bit. Nothing on the G string. So I'm going to work on the A and the D string a little bit and get it down to that 22 thousandths. Alright, let's check the neck relief now. capo at the first fret. I'm going to press down somewhere around the body joint, so 17th, 19th fret. And again, we're going to use, I like to use 12 thousandths. Can be between 10 and 12, but 12 seems to work pretty well. At the 7th fret. And I'm just scraping under there. Might tighten it just a little bit, but that's pretty good where it is. Alright, so for the string height, I like to use 6 and 5/64, so as long as we're in between there, we should be good. So in a Fender scale, we want to be at the 17th fret. I'm going to start with 6. That's good. These are a little low. So just above 5. So we're going to leave it right there. That's good. So for the intonation, we obviously want to tune the open string. And hit the harmonic at the 12th. And then hit a fretted note. Again, you'll press down hard, just lightly. That's pretty good. Just a touch sharp, but that could be the tuning too. So, and then a D. So we're a little flat there. It's pretty good. So A. That's nice. Maybe a little bit sharp. Could be me pressing down too, though. I think we'll adjust the E string. We'll flatten it a bit, so that means we move the bridge back. And then our intonation should be done. Don't forget, intonation is relative. It's as close as you can get it. It's never going to be 100% perfect. Alright, the last thing we'll check here on the bass is the pickup height. They look a little high, so I like to use 1/8 on the bass side, 3/32 on the treble side, and again that's a starting point, but keeps it consistent. Fret down the last fret. Yeah, I can't get that under there. Oh, that one's low. Let's go on this side. Too high. And that one's just right. So we need to lower the neck pickup and raise this side of the bridge pickup a little bit. I just want to say thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. So please like and subscribe for more content. And as the basses and guitars come in the shop, I'll try and film them for you and show you what happens on a day-to-day basis. So take care. See you next time.